Alrighty, I think I am live. Hey, you guys. Welcome to week 12 of my so called book club. And we are in a chapter 12 of Generations by Neil Strauss and William Howe. This week, it's all about the past is prologue. We're almost done with the book. Next week, we'll be ending the book and predicting the future from the 1990s until, now and into the next couple of decades. And then after that, starting in May, we'll get to the fourth turning. Hello, for all of you that are joining me tonight. I'm so sorry about last week. I had a death in my family, and I was actually at a funeral today. So if it looks like I have been crying a lot and my face is really puffy, that would be why. It's been a tough couple of weeks. So I'm sorry about last week, but thank you all for joining me tonight. Hello. Yes, we are in part 3 now. We are getting towards the end. Hello to everybody in the chat. Let me go ahead and turn that on. And I'm not sure where Grendelson is this week. I sent out a message to him, the link to join the stream, and I haven't seen him yet. But if he pops up here, I'll put him up on the screen as we go along. Thank you, Rachel. I really appreciate that very, very much. We lost a Gen Xer, my cousin Brittany. She was 47 years old, and it was very sad. But I will say that being at the funeral today, there was 5 generations of family there in one room. And reading this book the past few months and experiencing that was, I think the book really kind of made me look at it in a new light, and just to see all the different generations together all in one room and how we were all dealing with things, and it just puts so many things into perspective. But we had grandparents there that were, in their late 90s. We had newborn babies, and everybody in between. So it was quite an experience, and it has made me want to reconnect with family a lot. This book has. So I'm interested to hear what your guys' opinions and reactions have been to this book as we've gone along, and how it has affected you in any way, if you've enjoyed it, if you've been a little bit annoyed by it, if you don't believe it, or, whatever. So I'd like to hear your opinions on that in the chat, and I will go through and read some things. Hello to Dale. Thank you so much for your kind words. Kitea, hello. Jabbar, today marks 10 years since we lost Prince. Wow, really? It's wild that 2016 was 10 years ago. In a way, it feels like yesterday. Wow. Okay. So, hello, little Joe the Moonlight Cat. Appreciate you guys joining me tonight. Now, I feel like I'm almost a different person from the last time I talked to you all. With this death in my family, and I've been going through a lot of things, and I've been able to spend some time with different family members. And it's really been an impactful few days in my life. But another thing that I did this past week, since I've talked to you all last, is I bought myself a new car. But it's new to me. It was actually a 20-year-old car. But I'm going to show it off real quick because I'm so proud of it. Let me bring it up real quick. I bought a here, let me bring it up. Share screen. There it is. So I bought myself a 2007 Toyota FJ Cruiser. So that was kind of like, I don't know. I guess I could say a present to myself. But anyway, I'm getting ready to hit 100,000 subscribers, and I've always wanted one, and it came across it just came across my world, and I ended up buying it. So, and the goal is, in 2027 to do some road trip videos and to kind of go out and see America and do some American history. That's based in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, that kind of history. And with a bit of a road trip, I want to do Route 66 and things like that. So that's kind of what I bought it for. So thank you very, very much. I just wanted to show it off a little bit because I love it so much. Thank you, Eclectic Deb. Thank you, Crew Sam 01. So yeah, even though it was 20 years old, it was still, it's a Toyota, right? It only has 160,000 miles on it. That baby's just getting started. So I'm excited. All right. Enough of all that. Let's get to the book. There's so much to talk about. Generations. We're almost to the end. Now, I will say that chapter 12 is a really great setup for the next book that we're going to be reading, which is The Fourth Turning. So the past is prologue really gives us a really great setup for what that book is going to be about and how they're going to set everything up in The Fourth Turning. So the Passes prologue is really, really great. I'm just going to kind of read through it, and we'll stop along the way and we'll discuss different parts of it. But basically, I think one thing to really think about with this chapter is their idea of the secula, the 80 to 100 year cycle. Because in that 80 to 100 year cycle, inside are all the generations, all the different archetypes, and different things are happening at different times in life. So that really sets up The Fourth Turning. I'm so excited to get into it. And we'll be there in just a couple of weeks. So no matter what we do tonight, we're going to finish up the book next week. So next week will be the end of Generations for us. But then but that's the fun part, because it predicts the future. So, and you'll see how well they predicted the future in Generations. Watching the Buffalo Sabres. Hello, Joseph. Hello. Thank you, The Darkest Towel. I appreciate it. Appreciate it very much. All right, so I'm just going to start reading a little bit, and I have some places marked here in the chapters, and let me bring it up here on the screen as well. Share this tab instead. All righty. Let's go ahead and there we go. We make it a little bit bigger and we'll get started. Okay. Take a big drink here. That would be the 13th episode of the book club as well next week. See, it worked out really well. It worked out. The plan was for 13 weeks for each book. Sometimes it just works, Okay. We're just going to start from the beginning of the chapter. Tomorrow is another day, somewhere over the rainbow. The glimmering Futurama at the 1939 New York's World Fair. There'll be bluebirds over the white cliffs of Dover. During the turning point years of 1937 to 1943, in the midst of a crisis era, these messages reflected how Americans of all ages looked at the future. People felt hope, determination, and total consensus about where society should go toward material abundance, millions of cars and shoes, and spiritual simplicity, home and apple pie. I swear, right off the bat, you can see that during the era, the last crisis that our country was in had a very different national mood. It was all within reach, but conditioned on a struggle everyone knew would demand total unity from all, total sacrifice from some. There was little debate about right and wrong, only about how to get the job done. Americans looked to elders for strategic vision, to midlifers for tactical means, and to rising adults for selfless muscle. All those who today remember this mood, this sense of all-encompassing urgency, suffused with childlike innocence, wonder why it has proved so hard to rekindle. Such moods do not arrive often, but they do arrive from time to time. On 3 earlier occasions, Americans have experienced a similar feeling in the 1680s, in the 1770s, and briefly around 1860. On each of these occasions, Americans braced for a raging storm, urging one another not to lose hope that the sun would shine forward. I don't really feel that these days in this crisis turning, but we'll talk about that more as we get into the chapter. Let's see. Moving forward a couple of decades, we can see what the future looked like in an outer-driven era. Okay, so this was a little bit different. Outer-driven era. Here we find Tomorrowland, a 1950s image of a friendly future, moving sidewalks, soft-hued geometric shapes, futuristic music, and smiling, well-scrubbed families. In Disney's The Carousel of Progress, the progress remains fixed, while the carousel, what moves, is the audience. sitting in chairs and watching household life get predictably easier, cleaner, and more scientific. I remember the Carousel of Progress. Have y'all been to Disney World to see that? And Disneyland as well. It's both places. I think Disneyland had the original. Laying out the years to come with all the confident linearity of a monorail, Tomorrowland had what the crisis future didn't: specificity and certainty. Yet it also lacked urgency, moral direction, and hope, and today's visitor to the G.I. Jetson household finds it about as warm as push-button transmission. We sense much the same when we visit the Smithsonian Institution's Hall of Machines, full of huge, perfectly engineered turbines from the 1876 Centennial Exposition, the mechanical future of the midlife gilded. Or when we page through the geometrical street plans for the District of Columbia and the countless square townships drafted around 1800, the Palladian future of midlife Republicans. Or when we read the circa 1710 poetic odes to flax and shipping, the worker bee future of midlife glorious. During each of these eras, Americans looked into the future and saw Tomorrowland, secure, tangible, comfortable, under control, and distressingly spirit dead. Moving forward, yet another cycle notch. Hold on. We arrived in an awakening era, an encounter, a sudden discontinuity. Sometime between the mid-1960s and the early 1970s, the American vision of the future shifted from Tomorrowland to Pepperland. Erector set affluence was now a ghastly material cancer, publicly disdained and privately taken for granted. Of course, we got to the moon, so Americans thought. In another decade, we would be exploring the outer planets, and in another 4 or 5, shuttlecrafting to Alpha Centauri. But all that out there felt trivial compared to what people felt in here. Americans searched for soul over science, meanings over things. They explored an inner future without dates or chronology, a euphoric experience celebrated by coming-of-age youngsters who sensed the millennium in what seemed like total holocaust for everything their elders had built. Soylent Green. Where have we seen Pepperland before? Try Greenwich Village around 1900, or the New England communes in the 1840s, or the Connecticut Valley in the late 1730s, or the Puritan flagship Arabella in 1630. I see a new heaven and a new earth, cried Jonathan Edwards 250 years ago. Looking towards the future, so have many Americans during each of these eras. A final step forward lands us roughly in the mid-1990s, somewhere near the middle of an inner-driven era. To understand how the future will look then, we can reflect on where the mood has been heading over the last several years. According to most 1980s era opinion polls, Americans of all ages emerged from their consciousness revolution feeling terrific about their personal inner lives, but never so worried about the disintegrating foundations of their social outer world. By 1990, people came to share a disquieting sense of fragmenting community. This is interesting to me because I didn't realize it back then, but now I can see it. By 1990, people came to share a disquieting sense of fragmenting community, of eroding public purpose, of institutions that no longer function, of mounting financial and environmental liabilities that must someday fall due. We got there. So, and I think that, look back in the 90s, because that's when the globalization really started. The corporations and started moving their manufacturing out of the United States and moving it overseas. We had NAFTA in 1994, so that really exited a lot of jobs and started to really run down American towns. It feels like fewer and fewer people went to church, and I know that church is something that really holds community together, especially in small towns. So church attendance had declined starting in the 90s. And so all of those things were starting to kind of happen in the 90s. And then we had 9/11. So it's interesting that was picked up on already in this book. I'm going to go back and see what you guys have to say. Yeah. Under control, like when I was 6 and thought adults had it all together. Yes. Right. Yeah, we got there. Yeah, so it's interesting that that was starting to fall apart. I didn't feel it yet because I was still in 1991. I started high school and I graduated in 95, and then I went to college and graduated in 2000. And so my whole 90s was high school and college. And I was still hanging on to the the illusion of what we were taught, to go to college, get a good job and buy a house and get married and have kids and or have a career and do all the career things, and then maybe if you want to, all that stuff. So I was still holding on and being taught, and I think that as most of us were, that this is a path to success, this is a path to happiness. But the world was changing underneath us, and we didn't quite realize all of that yet. Like all of those systems that had been set up for us, all those institutions were starting to change and starting to crumble or starting to just transform into different things. So it's very interesting. You feel like you went to college for nothing? In a way, I would say that as well. I mean, I have a journalism degree, but I learned journalism and graduated in 2000. So we were putting together newspapers and and TV packages for the TV news, the radio. There was nothing. I mean, we had internet and computers in our lab, in our J school lab, but nothing about social media or internet, like any digital marketing. None of that was even a thing yet. So yes, I have a very outdated degree, and it was almost like yeah, kind of went for nothing. I mean, it was fun hanging out with friends and, and going to a lot of college basketball games. Man, I went to Kansas, so, got to watch my Jayhawks play. That was fun. But overall, it really wasn't a thing. And now my Gen Z nephew and niece, I encourage them both to skip university and just go, trade school or go local community college, if you want to get some basic skills or whatever, but don't put yourself in massive debt to, go to university unless you're going to be a doctor or a lawyer or like an engineer, or do something very specific degree. But just a liberal arts degree at this point in time is pointless. Underwater basket weaving. Yeah. So, I mean, I think we all feel that way. And I think we're going to see, and I think one of the things that we're seeing really shift, one of those institutions that they're talking about here that are really shifting into lack of trust and lack of confidence, is our educational system, the university system, as well as the public school system. Our public school system is based on like 19th century Prussian schools. Like we are still riding that wagon in 2026, and it's there needs to be some transformation in how we approach education in this country, especially because we've spent so much money on it and our outcomes and test scores are worse than they've ever been. So, but I think education is definitely one of those things that has really one of those institutions that they're talking about that people have lost faith in and that have started to fall apart. There were hardly talk about the trades. And that's one thing. If there was any talk about the trades, it was almost like it was less than. Like it was, I mean, if you're not going to go to college, I mean, I guess you could be a plumber or an electrician. But it was like this, but it was like it was this consolation prize or this, I mean, if you're not successful, you could always do this kind of, does that make it, like it was something that shouldn't be just as valued, if not more valued as a liberal arts education. But yeah, and I think and I think I talked about this a couple of weeks ago. For men, I think trades were definitely downplayed for Gen X, and for women, in our generation, I feel like the idea of being a wife and a mother was also downplayed. It was career, it was college, it was go make your money, go live your Sex in the City lifestyle. And so there was a lot of change in our structure of society, how they were talking to us when we were growing up. Grendelson, what up?
With that.
I can't hear you.
Oh shit!
I can barely hear you.
Okay, hang on. What's wrong with me?
Okay.
Go ahead, figure it out.
Okay, there you are. I hear you now. Okay.
Oh, good. Okay. So sorry, I'm
late
a little
party.
Yeah, late to the party, discombobulated. I found out yesterday I'm getting my surgery on Friday on my meat. So
Oh my gosh!
yeah,
Goodness gracious!
yeah.
Well, I'm
So
glad you made it.
yeah, hopefully I'll be making it next Thursday with a cast or something. So
Next Tuesday. This is Tuesday, right?
Oh God,
Yeah.
I don't even see. I don't even know what day it is anymore. So.
I know, right? It's just it all runs together. Someone needs to decorate that arm, Edward says.
It's not a cast, actually. This is just a splint. So
really,
hopefully the cast will be next week after my arm. After my arm gets some bionic parts. Yeah, so that's what I've been up to.
Good times.
I went in. I went in actually. Something didn't happen last week. The Friday before last week, I went in to get it redone, and they did a reduction on it, which is basically, you know how sometimes. Oh, what happened? Oh, there we go.
I was going to say you paused on me.
That's basically what they did to me last 2 Fridays ago. They just freaking ripped my arm out of my socket and put it back, and it was the single most pain I've ever had. So
I'm so sorry.
I recommend don't break your arm. That's
yeah, don't break your arm. That's bad news all the way around.
Too.
Well, I do apologize for not being here last week.
Can you all still hear me?
Huh?
Yeah, me. Oh.
Yeah, it's been a crazy couple of weeks for both of us, I believe. So it's I went to a funeral this morning, and it's been a really rough day. And I was telling everybody earlier that. Yeah, I was telling everybody earlier that there were 5 generations of family at the funeral, and that was just after reading this book. It was very interesting to see, all those different generations in one room. So
and it might be the last time you get some of those generations in a room together.
Yeah.
Too, so.
Yep.
Craziness.
Absolutely.
Craziness.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we went to my mom's birthday. She turned 75 was last week.
Oh, happy birthday to your mom.
Yeah. Thank you, Mommy. Took us out to a nice dinner. And we had we went, silent boomers, Gen X. Not too many Gen X's, but a couple. And it was 5 generations at the 4 generations table.
It's pretty cool. I mean, when you really think about it, I look at things through such a generational lens these days, and it just really, it just really makes me look at things differently, and like everybody's different experiences. And
I wish I still knew some. I wish I still knew some.
I lost you again. You there? There you are.
Oh, you're breaking. Yeah, you're breaking up that.
Huh? Yeah, you're pausing a lot on me. I don't know if it's. I don't know. I've been working on my feed here, my stream, because it's been pausing on me the last couple of weeks. So I made sure everything was turned off except for StreamYard.
I turned. I said everything the other day. All right. Anyway, well, I'm here.
You're here.
I don't know where we are.
We are. This is our penultimate. This is our penultimate week. For generations, we are at the past is prologue, which is chapter 12. Next week will be our final week of generations, where we do the chapter 13 and do the future talk. So right now we are talking about the past as prologue. We're getting up into the different. Oh, I lost you again. We'll go down and see. Hopefully he can get that fixed. Okay, so let's get back to the book here. All right. Now, this is what I was talking about earlier, that we're going to get in. They're really going to dive into this with the 4th turning. But this is kind of the the preamble, I guess you would say, to our 4th turning constitution. So these 4 visions of the future are all component pieces of a broader social mood that accompanies over our 4 successive constellation eras. So we have an awakening era, an inner driven era, a crisis, and then into the outer driven. So right now, like I was saying, in the 90s, they were already feeling that inner driven era. They were already feeling things falling apart and setting, like the early setup for the crisis that was coming. We are currently in a crisis, and hopefully by 2032, 2034, we'll get into the next first turning and the outer ribbon era. In each era, the mood is determined by the unique combination of the different generational types at each stage of life. Recognize the awakening mood of the 70s. We can't imagine it without square civics entering elderhood, spoiled idealists coming of age, and sensitive passage prone adaptive sandwiched in between. How about the crisis mood of the 30s? Unthinkable without civics and idealists in reverse positions, and this time gritty reactives sandwiched in between. Drawing on the American experience, this chapter examines what these patterns say about how the social mood changes, how generations mature, and how the generational cycle helps or hurts the future. Cycles are not supposed to be a happy mix. When Americans talk of generations, they like to associate them with hopes for progress, in particular with the American dream that each successive generation will fare better over time. The very concept of a historical cycle may seem to threaten these hopes and this dream. If history runs in circles, after all, how can it move forward? As the generational biographies have shown, however, our cycle is perfectly compatible with the progress of civilization by any standard normally used to measure it: material, spiritual, social, or cultural. All the cycle explains is when and why different generations apply different standards in working toward progress. Wherever we use the word cycle, the reader may, if he wishes, replace it with spiral, with all the opportunity and danger implicit in that word. A spiral turns in a circle while at the same time moving upward or downward. All right, let's bring him back. You ready now?
I hope so.
Okay, that's much better.
I think I had a little bandwidth thief in the house. So
I see. It happens. It happens. So we're talking cycles.
Comedy to actually life lately. I don't know what. The
So we're talking cycles, and so we have the where did it go? Hold on, let me bring it up here.
What page are you on?
I'm on page 349. So we're talking about the awakening, the inner driven, the crisis, and the outer driven. So I feel like this chapter is a setup for the fourth turning book. Like, this kind of really introduces their different cycles and patterns in their secula of their 80 to 100 years.
Right.
So right now we're in the crisis, but while this book was being written, they were in the inner driven era. Now we're in a crisis, and then after this, we're going to get into the outer driven, which should start in probably the early to mid 2030s if the theory holds. So, and here, they're talking. It's not a happy mix, but what is important is the mix of the generations that we have right now in this crisis. So, we have our
GIs.
Okay. I was thinking about, like, today in 2026, we have our civics and idealists. That's millennial and Gen Z, and then idealists are the boomers.
Boomers, yeah.
Idealists are the boomers, civics are the millennials, and then we are the reactive sandwiched in between.
And we still have the two. We still have a few GIs and silence.
We do. I mean, they are, but they're not really relevant to the social conversation at this point. I mean, if you're 80 plus, or if you're, Gen Alpha, if you're 10, or, if you're in your single digit years, like, those are the extremes, and I get that they're here, but the four that are important for this cycle is the boomers, the Gen X, millennials, and Gen Z. So I can't believe my dad has let my cat in when I told him not to do that, and now he's back there meowing his little head off. Dale is gonna have to wait. So I like how it says whenever we use the word cycle, the reader may, if he wishes, replace it with spiral, with all the opportunity and danger implicit in that word. A spiral turns in a circle while at the same time moving upward or downward. So, it's not always about progress. It can be regress. It can be, and what is progress?
Form of a cycle. It's, it is always going to be up and down, up and down.
Yeah. Absolutely. So, it's not always, we're not always perpetually moving forward. And what does that really even mean? Once we hit the space age of got into the tech, we went to the moon apparently and did all the space stuff. And then, then we got the computers and the internet and all the digital age. And then it's like all of our visions of the future just kind of stalled. If anything, all of our visions of the future have in our movies and everything have become dystopian. It hasn't been positive like they looked at the future in the 1930s or 40s. You know what I'm saying? So why do you think we have such a dystopian future?
As an avid follower of NASA and the space exploration, it's really, really hard to wrap my head around why our progress in the 80s just came to a screeching halt.
Just stopped. When I did my Challenger video, there was a whole segment of people being interviewed for the Teacher in Space program that Krista McAuliffe was that one. Hundreds of teachers from across the country. And they were being interviewed. And every one of them said, the students that we're teaching today are going to be working on the moon or at a space station, or they had all of these ideas that we were going to be doing this space travel and this future, and then it just stopped the moment Challenger exploded. It feels like, even though the space program continued, that idea.
True. That's 100% true. We allowed our fear of not being able to be safe as possible. We allowed that fear to hinder the progress, and it's really sad. It's really sad. We should have. I really think that we should have had people, living on the moon by now. I fully expected, when I was a kid, that by 2025. We would have people living on the moon. Maybe not that many. I'm not saying we need to have a whole fucking colony up there.
But the first colonizers, the first people.
You watch. I watch that show. I don't know if you watch it, but this show called For All Mankind, which I think is really relevant to this.
I just started it. I watched the first episode not too long ago.
I'm caught up. I'm on the current season, and they really make the way that the space race goes in that show is so much more interesting than what actually happened. And the way that they're not even I don't want to give you too many spoilers, but in the current season they have colonized Mars. They're not even in 2012 yet, and there's hundreds of thousands of people living on, not hundreds, thousands of people living on Mars.
I know it's an alternate history or an alternate reality or alternate history or whatever.
There is a single point of divergence.
Okay.
There is a single point of divergence. There was and they have actually said it already. It's not a big spoiler, but there was a Russian scientist who in reality got a cold and was unable to continue work on whatever project it was that allowed the Soviets to beat them to the moon.
Right.
So For All Mankind, this guy didn't get sick.
The Russians Soviets beat the Americans.
And then that totally spurred on it's great because it spurred on so many cool things that didn't happen in reality. So many things, and of course there's all sorts of problems as well. So sure. I'm excited that you're watching it. I love to talk to you about it in the future.
I plan on diving into it in the next few days. So
if you can blow through, I would highly recommend it. It's a great show. There's only 10 episodes a season, so
okay.
And then in between each season, there's a bunch of stuff you should watch too, because they talk about It's great though.
Okay.
I love it. Enjoy
I'll
it.
check it out. I'll check. The other thing about not just the Challenger, but what really baffles me is after the Apollo program and we went to the moon like 4 or 5 times apparently, that all of that was just kind of like scrapped and like
in the 70s.
Yeah, in the 70s. And it's like
there was there because there was a sentiment, especially after the oil crisis, that we were spending way too much money on NASA and there wasn't any real tangible profits to be had from the research that they were doing at the time. Now we all know that's BS.
Right.
I don't know about you, but I sleep on a bed that was created with NASA science.
Right. right. So, it's really weird that it just feels like that's more nefarious deep state stuff. It's like, why do we just scrap all those things and why, and I know we were having the energy crisis, but it just seems like when you this was the biggest project in the history of mankind. And for us to just like scrap it all and delete everything and nobody knows how we did what, and it's like, wait, what?
To be fair, there's no way they could send people to the moon with the technology that they did then.
No, I think I have more tech in my phone. Yeah,
we all do. We all have more tech in our phone than they did. So
yeah, it's just a weird thing.
No, I agree. There's probably something else going on, but it also, and when it comes to spending, it's always kind of looked at from both sides as a non-starter because it's just not that popular with most people.
Right.
I think most Americans really don't give a crap about space travel or doing any of that.
I don't think they do either. And
that's, I think, is super unfortunate because I grew up as a humongo fan of NASA, and to this day, I did the JPL tour a couple of years ago.
Oh wow!
Which you can do and then actually I knew somebody who worked at JPL. So, being able to be that close to, that kind of stuff is just mind blowing to me. And I can't wait for the, whichever shuttle I forget we got is back up. It's standing up now and it's got the solid rocket boosters attached to it. And looks like it's ready to take off over the Lucas Museum. So.
Wow. Well, I think this has a lot to do with this coincides with the Strauss and Howe theory of we went from an awakening into an inner-driven era. And so when you go into an inner-driven era, then that whole space exploration, the outer world, everything went to focus on me. It was the me generation of the 70s, all the different products that were being, so you could personalize your life via products, and everything is me, and you can get therapy, and you can all work on you. And so that whole idea of those big outer space goals kind of our country went from doing things as a society and doing via our government into just we really started focusing on the inner-driven era.
And also, not for nothing, but the last few things that NASA did before the shuttle were mostly collaborations with the Soviet Union in the middle of the 70s, which, while not quite the era of the Cold War of the 60s, it still wasn't real popular, especially the Soyuz Apollo missions. Those were just non-starters, and people just, when you were paying, so much at the pump and you're watching your paycheck fly out the window every week.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, if you're doing well as a society and as a culture and everybody is prosperous, you don't mind your government spending money on exploration and things like that. But if you have economic crisis, or if your citizens aren't doing well financially, then they don't see the positives of spending money on things like that. So, and I get that. That makes sense. And
don't forget, the space shuttle program was designed really to get satellites up there more than
right.
anything.
And they did. I mean, they did. We can talk to each other on these phones and stuff because of all of that.
Exactly right. So it did exactly what they meant it to do without spending a whole lot of dough, without spending the kind of money it would take to go to the moon again.
Right.
Or to even try to go to Mars. They were able to put satellites in orbit and make a profit. So
yeah,
it's interesting.
All right, I'm going to read the next part of the book here.
Yeah.
We are on the bottom of page 349. Our cycle or spiral may offer more reason to be optimistic about the future than the conventional linear view of history. Consider, for example, the perspective of many of today's elder GIs who came of age during the Great Depression and who tend to measure the American dream by civic milestones. Public order, community purpose, friendly neighborhoods, dutiful families, benign science, and a rapidly ascending standard of living. Take those milestones, assess the trends of the past 2 or 3 decades, they're talking about the 60s, 70s, and 80s, and reflect on what a linear view of history would conclude about America's future. Now that's pessimism. But a cycle offers hope. It suggests, as we have just seen, that the standards by which Americans measure progress shift from one era to the next, from material to spiritual, from community improvement to self-perfection, from basic survival to civilized refinement, and then back again. As the missionary historian James Truslow Adams bravely wrote during the dark hours of the Great Depression, the American dream gives every youth the chance to grow into something bigger and finer as bigger and finer appeared to him. So too for every new generation. I don't think they really, and nobody could see the, or could forecast this whole idea of the death of the American dream. And that we would all get the chance to grow into something bigger and finer, and it's really fallen apart lately, and I don't think they could have predicted that. But that's part of the crisis. Is that we've put our country economically into a situation to where our youngest generations don't feel positive about the future or hopeful about the future, and that's tough. That's a tough one to figure out, because now we're in a crisis, and I feel like there's no hope. We have a whole generation of people that have no hope for the future, so it's going to kind of be interesting to see where it goes. I don't know.
It's interesting. I would think, though, like, even though it may have started with this, it may have increased with this most recent crisis. I think the death of the American dream has been fomented by certainly a certain sect of people since, I want to say, the beatniks. I think the beatniks were really the first group of folks who were like, the American dream ain't all that. And
right.
And as they grew older and had more influence on the boomers, I think a lot of boomers started to get jaded too. Right. And those boomers were the ones that didn't have children and weren't the helicopter parents.
Right.
They're the ones that are influencing a lot of us now.
Right.
No, though. I do think there's something to it.
Yeah. And I think, and also about the American dream, we are so far removed from our own history and what it meant to be an American in the 18th and 19th and even the early into the 20th century, because America was really the first country that really, where the idea of where you could change class, like you could move up, like you could achieve more than your parents. Like most societies before America were set up in like caste systems or feudal systems, or there was no mobility in class. There was no class mobility. I mean, I could be wrong. There could be other societies that had that, but it feels like America was the first that really offered class mobility to a normal person. You could be born in a Mississippi, shack and become the king of rock and roll.
That is really the American dream.
And that is the American dream. And we are so far removed to understanding that this society that we have has built and they're still there. There are still people that do class mobility. I mean, you can still move up. It's still possible. It just feels harder and harder for people, but it's still there. But I think that we really, as Americans, especially, we stopped teaching civics and history and things like that in our schools. And we've stopped teaching, we grew up in the Cold War, so it was all anti-communism. It was very pro-capitalism, our education. And I feel like we've gotten so far removed from that for our younger generations that they don't even know, they don't realize what they have in our system. Even though it's broken and things are falling apart, it's still, the basics are there and we can still save it. But anyway, I don't mean to get on that tangent, but
no, that's all right. I like it. It's prescient, it's salient, and it makes, it does make sense. And it's true. Kids today it's no longer the American dream. It's the American entitlement now.
Yeah.
It's
well, and it's also, everybody can just, there's some people that believe that anybody should be able to just come here and be an American and pursue that American dream. And there's others that want to protect it and realize the privilege that it is. And so, we've seen millions of people come to this country over the last decade or so. And it's like, it's causing some conflict because the people that were here were like, wait a second. We see all these new people coming in here and they seem to be getting the American dream in a lot of ways with the government programs and things. And it's like, it's causing us real big conflict. It's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. I think that's one of the biggest, what is America and what does it mean to be an American? And are we going to hold on to this foundation that we built, our ancestors built, or is it going to completely transform into something new? So,
I think it would be a real shame if this country, which was founded on, being welcoming to all, stopped being welcoming to everyone. And
I don't know if we were founded on being welcoming to all.
We were founded on that American dream. We were founded on, you can start over here. You can have a different life. You can be what you want to be. And they wanted, we wanted people to come, and we still do. That whole idea of the melting pot is, I think, still alive and still to be lived.
Right.
And I think once we start talking about who should or who shouldn't get in, or who should be allowed to immigrate, I think it's when you start to get into that real slippery slope of, who makes the rules,
Right. Well, I would push back a little bit on that and say that, in the early part of our country, people were coming here to settle and to build. They came here with nothing and were given nothing and built whatever life they could build for themselves. But we have such an entitlement program built up. We have so much money in DC that is being given out to people that come here. If you look at the statistics, like, I think it's about 50 to 60% of migrants now are getting some kind of public assistance. That's very difficult for people that have lived here for generations to take in. And it's not an anti-immigration stance, but I think it's a legitimate conversation to have about the privilege of being an American and wanting to have borders and wanting to have rules about who comes in here and why. And I don't think that's, I just don't think that everybody in the world should be able to come here if they want to come here. I just don't think that's fair. I wouldn't ask any other country in the world to do that. I wouldn't ask Japan to do that. I wouldn't ask Russia to do that, or China or England. And it's just, I think this is going to be a big issue for us to kind of figure out as a society, as a country over the next decade. Because you have to have rules. You can't, when there's so much money in the system that's being handed out, and, the systems that we've built, the structures that we've built, we're being so stressed right now, from our welfare systems to our healthcare systems to all of that stuff. So it's just, we're facing a lot here. And I don't know. I don't know why I'm talking about all that, but anyway.
I'm here for it.
Yep. And yeah, let's not be welcoming those who hate our culture. That's the other one. Like, I think there's something to be said about American culture. Like today, when I was driving to from the funeral home to the gravesite, we were all on a line and we drove through our town, and every car pulled over to the side of the road so the funeral procession could go through. And it was like, this is American culture. Like, it felt so good to, like, I don't know. It feels, there's American culture there that needs to be preserved, and to come in and to hate it or to not like it, then don't come here. So anyways, yeah, it's as if the government needs a complete reset. I think Edward the Store has, and you're not wrong. And I think we're going to get it. I think we're going to get it in some way.
Amazing that we do get a complete reset pretty much every almost 2 years, seems like.
Yeah.
Every 4 for sure, and it's not always a 100% reset, but that's the beautiful thing about the government, is that we are for the people, by the people, and we vote. So it's going to be real interesting to see what happens in the fall elections and going forward the next couple of years. And we're definitely in a crisis mode. We're doing we've got so many crazy things going on right now.
Yeah. And I'd like for the, the American family to figure shit out before we start inviting everybody else back here. That'd be my, we need to get our family, our house in order before we start inviting everybody else to hang out with us. And I agree with that, Electro Dub.
Funny thing, it's funny, people are leaving LA.
Yes,
and California.
I saw that.
And I, for one, am so happy. I'm like, good. Get out of here. We're overcrowded. We got too many people. I don't understand why y'all want to come here. We don't want you. You want to be here. You hate it. We don't want you.
Yep. I know. Like, California is a very interesting case study in what we've just been talking about, and the migration of the populations that have changed and the things that have changed in California. Are you going to vote Are you going to vote in the mayoral primary that's coming up? I think it's in June.
Probably.
Yeah.
I don't even know who I'm voting for, though.
Really, there's three candidates running. One of them is Spencer Pratt, who was on the Hills.
I'm not going to vote for him.
He was on Rogan the other day. I thought he was amazing. I was like, if I was in LA, I would vote for this guy. His house burned down in the Palisades fire as well as his parents, and he was on fire for that, man. He was June 2nd, yeah. But I thought he was. I thought he was very impressive, but it's either him or Karen Bass, basically.
Yeah, and I'm not. I mean, listen, I'm not a big fan of her. So
yeah. But anyway, we don't get into LA politics. All right, let's get to page 356. Page 356. We're gonna skip ahead a little bit.
The subway extension for the 3 extra stops is finally opening.
Woo!
That no one will ever actually use. It's amazing.
Yeah. Don't you guys have like high-speed rail like out in the middle of nowhere for like a quarter of a mile somewhere? I think I've seen pictures.
I don't know. They've been talking about putting in a high-speed rail to Vegas for ages, which is a no-brainer. And
right, it goes well. When the money goes to all the different NGOs, and instead of actually getting stuff done, California, you are a special group, and we love you.
So that's
all right. Let's talk about the mood of an inner-driven era. No, you know what? Let's go to the mood of a crisis era.
We know what an inner-driven era.
Yeah, we've just been. Yeah, let's go to the crisis. The mood of a crisis era reflects society's transition into a secular crisis. A grim preoccupation with outer world peril grows to maximum intensity as spiritual curiosity declines. Artistic culture avoids nuance, often in the form of propaganda, overtly reinforcing good conduct. Worldly problems are no longer deferred, but are allowed to congeal into a struggle requiring total consensus, aggressive public institutions, and personal sacrifice. Wars are very likely, and they are fought with fury and efficacy. Sex role distinctions widen. Public and family orders strengthen. And personal violence and substance abuse decline. A rush of hopeful confidence in near-term secular progress crowds out worries about questionable public means and contributes to a low tolerance for risk-prone lifestyles. Child rearing reaches a cyclical point of maximum protection and structure. The era's defining two-apart generational dialogue arises between coming-of-age civics, millennials, and aging idealists, boomers. A friendly alliance that harnesses the worldly energy of the young but leaves values in the hands of the old. Sample military conflicts: King Philip's War, Colonial Glorious Revolution, American Revolution, Civil War, and World War II. I do not feel this in our current crisis.
Yeah, I was going to say, there quite a bit of that does not feel like a current issue. Like, family order is not strengthening. Personal violence and substance abuse are definitely on the rise.
Right.
Personal violence more so, and substance abuse. Yeah, I can't. That doesn't even. Hopeful confidence. No one has that.
Yeah. Well, I think this goes into the breakdown of our culture and the American culture. Like, what it means to be an American has just completely just evaporated over the last 20 or 30 years. They couldn't have predicted this. And we're falling apart instead of coming together. And I don't know how you could have predicted this, but we've really kind of gone off the rails here. This is a crisis era like no other, because there is no hope. There is no hope, but there's the hopeful look for the future is not there right now. Our families are falling apart, and they have been for a long time. Unfortunately,
though, I would disagree that we have seen this before, and I'll tell you exactly when. It was 1855 to 1859.
Yeah.
So,
and that's why we saw that's why we studied the anomaly. And that's why we studied the anomaly, because I think that could be where we're headed. I watched a really great video today about someone. It was from a Gen Z guy, and it was based on Strauss and Howe theory of crisis. And he was talking about, he believes there's another civil war coming, and because a lot of this, and
I think there might be one. The longer, yeah, I think the longer our current president sits in office, we're getting closer and closer to that.
I mean, honestly, I don't even think it has anything to do with him. I think it has to do with the two different looks. Like, one side looks at America completely different as the other, and the question is, which one prevails? Which ideology prevails? And I mean, I know people don't like our current president, but a lot of people do, because he won the election, he won the popular vote, so he does have a lot of support. He's made some decisions people aren't really happy about lately.
Rating of any president ever. Mm-hmm. Currently.
I don't believe pollsters when it comes to Trump. Just never have. And the media, that's another thing. I don't trust our media anymore. I don't trust what they all have an agenda. All of them have an agenda. And the hatred of Trump from the past 10 years from the left side has really, really clouded their decision making. Because I don't know, but I think there's
I would say with good reason, though.
With good reason. Why? Because Donald Trump was the number one reality show TV host for a decade. He was in our lives our whole lives. He has been in the news. He has been in the media. And he was never hated like this. But all of a sudden, the man gets the nomination in 2016, and he is Hitler. And I don't understand where that came from. I really don't. Because we used to have such discourse between the left and the right. We used to be able to argue and talk about things and disagree on things. Like, I don't understand why that switch flipped, and all of a sudden it was just like hatred. I that's what really just baffles me. But I think we're going to be probably in a civil war. And I don't think it has. I don't think it has anything to do with him. He's going to be off the national stage in 2 or 3 years. We are going to have a next level of next generation of leaders.
I hope it's sooner than that.
Well, he was elected, and I mean, his 4-year term ends in 2028. So it's just wild. Yeah, like I don't understand where the hatred came from, because I used to love The Apprentice. I thought it was a great show. It's fun. And I don't understand where the hatred came from. That's what I don't understand. But again, I think it's a conflict in our society. I think it goes bigger than him.
I can tell you that I don't appreciate somebody who uses the presidency as a means to gain an empire and to better themselves in such a disgusting manner. And
how so? Example, please.
That man has made more money on the presidency than any other man in history. And that...
How so?
He has profited from being president in the billions of dollars.
Where? How?
He's got it. Just look for it. It's there. And he's done it illegally. So
I think you're being fed some nonsense. And the man gave up. He's given up his presidential salary. He has no control over any of his business. Huh?
He has people going to he has Mar-a-Lago as basically the White House East, and they have actually been contracted with more money than any other resort in history to service him.
Mm-hmm.
The man has taken more days of golf. He's spent more of the public's money. I mean, the fact that you don't see it is really surprising, because I think you don't want to see it. You don't.
Do you really want to go through? Do you want to go through what Biden did and what Obama did and what Clinton did with all the money they made?
That's a straw man argument that doesn't fly. I'm talking about Trump. I'm not talking about Biden. I'm not talking. I had problems with Biden. I had some problems with Obama because I thought he was a wuss. But yeah. What my problems currently are with our current sitting president, who both times.
Well, I don't see how he's used anything in the government or as a president to enrich himself. I haven't seen it. I'm just asking for proof. I'm asking for proof.
Do not want, and it's there. Just look for it. Just look
where? For it. Tell me where.
Look at his tax forms. Oh, he won't show them to you.
So
he has enriched himself at the hands of our poor people.
I just want to know what decisions or policies he has made to enrich himself. That's all I'm asking for, because I will look and I will try to find it. But I just, yeah, I don't want to fight over this.
We need to move on, or I'm out of here.
Okay. Are you getting mad at me?
I'm not getting mad. I'm not getting angry, but I am a little disappointed in the fact that you just won't be open to seeing what is really there, and you really need to open your.
I am asking you for the proof of what you're talking about. I'm
telling you, it's there. You just got to look for it.
But that doesn't help.
Again,
that doesn't help at all.
Straw man arguments, like Pelosi isn't making money. I've never voted for Pelosi. I've actually voted against Pelosi. I wish she would fucking retire already. Okay.
I'm just saying that every president has done things, and I don't know why the evil. I don't know why the hate for this man, because I don't see him as any different from any of the other presidents when it comes to this stuff, unless you tell me specifically what you're talking about, because I don't know, and I would like to know. So I love that we can have a discussion, and
it's no longer. Yeah, but at this point, it's no longer constructive.
Okay.
And people are piling on in the comments, and I don't appreciate it.
Okay.
It's no longer.
Okay.
I'm telling you, I mean, all you got to do, Google Trump enriching himself, and I found 10 articles on the first page.
From what sources?
How about Harvard? Does that count?
Okay, you're getting mad at me, and you're getting. Okay, Grendelson, it's been great. Bye-bye. Sorry, guys. I want to get along with everybody. And Grendelson, you're welcome back for next week, but this has kind of gone to a place where I didn't ask for it to go. Are we okay? I want us to get along. Are we okay?
Listen, I'm just going to say this. Even if I brought up something for you, you would question the source. So why should I go do some research for you only to question every single source? Do your own research.
Okay.
Do your own research. I'm going to state that. If you want to do your own research and refute what I'm saying, if you want to tell me that he hasn't gotten a dime out of being president, then that's what you want. Then that's your delusion.
Okay. I was just asking about the hatred. That's all I'm asking, because I just don't see him different from other politicians.
I told you a very valid reason, one very valid reason. Two, I don't appreciate him getting our boys killed over in Iran for something that he shouldn't have done. That's just one other thing. Okay. I mean, I basically, there's been only like 3 things that he's done that I've agreed with as a president. And, I just try to ignore the rest of it because I just don't see it as being positive.
Right. I mean, all the leaders in our lifetime have had good things and bad things, and I was just trying to understand the hatred for the current president, because it felt like it came out of nowhere. And I
gave you, and the thing is, it's really frustrating is I gave you at least one reason and you started questioning the reason. You couldn't just say, okay, yeah, maybe that's true. Maybe
I didn't say it wasn't true.
But
I was asking for specific examples.
Right. And then and again, you're asking for examples. And if I give you examples, you're going to nitpick them to death and not believe them. Okay. So what's the point of that?
I mean, I just.
That is an effort in futility. So, But
if I sit here and tell you good things about President Trump, you won't believe it either.
That's not true. I have an open mind, and I do believe. And as I said, he has done some things that I've agreed with. Okay. The fact that he actually has put money into NASA is something that I definitely agree with.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. See, we're okay. we're okay. Like I will look into this. I watch news from all parts of the spectrum. I am an independent person. I do not simp for the Republicans or the Democrats. I'm just trying to figure out what caused such hatred and division in our country. That was all I was trying to figure out. All right.
It's a tough thing. It's a little disingenuous when you're given a reason and you start to rail against that reason.
But can I not question it? Can I not question your because I do not trust the media. Is that fair?
I understand that. And I don't trust all the media either. I use a lot of different sources myself. I don't just rely on AP News or Reddit or
God, I hope not. Come on, Grendelson, let's laugh. We can be friends.
I mean, we can, and we can disagree, but piling on is something that I don't agree with. I mean, the fact that it just doesn't seem like we're interested in learning the reasons, because like I said, I gave you one thing, and that's just one off the top of my head. Okay.
Right.
If I went back and looked at every single thing he's done in both terms,
right,
I could definitely come up with many, many, many more reasons why I don't think that this man is a good president or should be president or should have been president.
Right.
I can find a lot of reasons why he shouldn't be president and why
he's your number one argument against democracy. Hey, we're not a democracy. We're a republic. I'm just saying. This is what happens when everybody gets to vote. Oh, come on, Grendelson.
I'm all right.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Yeah.
The reactive life cycle, page 359.
Well, that was reactive.
Gen X. But I love that we can have a conversation, and even if it gets a little heated, it doesn't matter. Like we're an American. I'm an American. God bless America. All right. The reactive life cycle. We are a reactive.
Hey, how about I got one. How about the government itself reporting on Trump? News report
Okay.
exposes Trump's family multi-billion-dollar empire.
Oh, they're a wealthy bunch. They're a wealthy bunch. They always have been.
Saying, a lot of money.
Right.
$4 billion since he became president.
From Truth Social. He sold Truth. So he sold Truth Social. All right. The reactive lifestyle, nurtured as children during an awakening and coming of age amid spiritual confidence but secular unease. Reactive generations travel a picaresque life cycle. Early in life, reactives desperately seek to escape or outwit the judgments of next elder idealists. Later in life, they make unthanked sacrifices for next year or next junior civics. Well, that feels right. At a distance, we remember reactives best during their rising adult years of hell raising and during their midlife years of tough in the fray leadership. So here is our American reactives here. The Cavalier was the first, the Liberty Gen, Gilded, Lost, and 13th, which would be us. All right. So let's go through our life cycle as a Gen Xer. In our youth, the reactive generation is child to an era of still powerful civic elders, torn adaptive midlifers, and moralizing idealist rising adults. With adaptive approval, children are left free to find their own norms of behavior and adjust to a world of narrowing sex role distinctions. No longer protective, parents expose children to real-world anxieties and dangers. With a largely self-absorbed adult society immersed in a spiritual awakening, youths are given little sense of mission or direction. Adults tend to view them harshly, at best as inconvenient, at worst as disappointing or even wicked.
I'm a wicked.
Can you get a Cliff Note version of that paragraph? It means that it was all about adults. The kids were basically ignored and left to their own to fend for their own devices, fend for themselves, and there was no protection from parents. We, as children, were exposed to real-world anxieties and dangers from the jump. We were not protected. We were not coddled. We were not given a trophy for participating. Adults viewed us harshly. We were the slackers, right? We were at best inconvenient, at worst disappointing. Rising adulthood. Reactives came of age. I'm sorry, did you have something to say?
No, I was going to say we never got out of that. We never were able to grow up out of that.
Yeah,
they never let us forget it.
And this was definitely the case for the older cohort of Gen Xers.
Oh, yeah.
Once we get into the Zennials, like myself, there was starting to soften a little bit, but I got a little bit of both. I got a little bit of both. So, but yeah, we are better for it, Eclectic Deb. 100%. All right. Rising adulthood. Reactives came of age with little collective self-esteem. Their early contact with the real world, however, gives them strong survival skills and high hopes for individual success. They perceive midlife idealists as pompous and judgmental, and are themselves perceived as amoral and devoid of inner life. Defining themselves in cynical opposition to the idealists who by now are starting to govern with an increasingly heavy hand, young reactive adults engage in social and economic entrepreneurship, tinged with pleasure-seeking and other high-risk behavior.
That's where I don't see the drugs going away, high-risk behavior and pleasure-seeking.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we did, but
we did have strong survival skills.
Well, yeah, because when you're walking home from school in third grade and you're 8 years old and ain't no one home.
Yeah.
You learn how to make some macaroni and cheese and boil the water and, learn how to feed the cat and take out the trash and do the dishes and all those things before your parents get home.
Right. But we are better for it. And I think that, in a lot of ways, when you're just kind of thrown to the wolves to fend for yourself and you got to learn and adapt and figure things out, whether it be, learning on a playground how to deal with others or, how to, all of these, or be by your home by yourself and cook yourself some food, or, entertain yourself. That's to me why Gen X is so awesome.
I can't remember how many times I was told, amuse yourself, and especially as an only child,
Yeah.
God, it was, and oh my God, if I ever said I was bored, I was gonna get it. Oh, you're bored? Oh, let me give you something to do,
Yeah. Yeah. I'll give you something to cry about. I got that one a lot. I'll give you something to cry about. And also, children should be seen and not heard. I got that one a lot too.
That one I didn't get so much. From my grandparents, yes, but not from my parents so much, because I was, amongst my parents' friends, I was the only kid. So when my parents would be around them, I would be allowed to hang out with the adults.
Well, that's cool.
Which was weird because, that's, they were all sitting around. They were young hippies. They were all sitting around getting stoned.
I was a little different. My parents were in church. I had a very conservative Christian parents. So
I had that feral upbringing,
Yeah.
This should probably tell you something a little more about me. When I was 4, we were living in Ocean Beach, which is hippie central down in San Diego.
Yeah.
And I attended the Ocean Beach Free School.
Oh, wow.
Which had no grades, no nothing, and no, it was one of those.
That's like hippie dippy.
That might tell you a little more about who I am.
Yeah. That's a very interesting experience.
Oh, believe me. Yeah.
That's fun.
It's funny because I see I see that side of it too, and I'm just like, fucking burnouts.
Right. All right, let's go to midlife here, this is where we are right meow. Playing to win, but half expecting to lose. Reactives enter midlife accepting wide gaps in personal outcomes and between sex roles. They regard success or failure as a private matter, while they gradually learn to abide and no longer fight the idealist stigma against their generation. They become cautious in family life and gradually mellow in personality. Their ableist peers become society's most cunning, pragmatic, and colorful public figures, military and commercial managers of great realism, effective leaders for the secular crisis, congealed by elder idealists.
Yeah, no, we don't have any effective leaders.
Oh, they're starting to pop up. They're coming. I mean, love them or hate them. I mean, we got a Gen Xer as the richest man in the world and sending rockets to wherever. And the entire presidential cabinet is Gen X. They're going to start showing up here in the next year to two, I think. As
he doesn't count. Elon is South African. He doesn't.
He's an American citizen now.
I will not. I will not accept Elon Musk as one of us.
Oh, I will. Man made some money. All right, elderhood. Let's see what we got to look forward to. Elder reactives remain undemanding in a new post-crisis era when society begins praising the energy of civic midlifers and indulging a new crop of idealist youths. Aging leaders compensate for their generation's earlier binge-like behavior by shunning risk and encouraging conformism. By instinct, old reactives are wary conservatives not born yesterday, inclined to warn more than guide. They retire into an individualist, if neglected, role. So we're going to basically be like peacing out and going to our Gen X mall retirement homes. Yep. Oh, wow. Okay, let's see what I got here.
I'll take the bookstore.
You'll take the bookstore? Okay, let's skip ahead to page 372. We're gonna finish out the chapter here. I know I've skipped ahead a lot, or skipped through this chapter a lot, but a lot of it's just kind of it's kind of like summarizing the book that we've just read in a lot of ways. It's summarizing all the different generations and where each generation fits in the seculum. So I didn't feel the need to read every line of it for the book club tonight. I hope that's okay. 372. Let me get up here. Oops.
A crisis era.
A crisis era. A crisis era begins with idealist endowment activity rising to a maximum fury. Society now places total priority on establishing a consensus of good versus bad, right versus wrong. Sometime near the peak of the secular crisis, this fervor gives way to the sharp-eyed prudential endowments of midlife reactives. The energy and teamwork of coming-of-age civics emerge from a new chrysalis. By now, the old adaptive sensitivity to process and pluralism is deemed a wasteful, even subversive luxury. And I think we're kind of going through this now. Society places total priority on establishing a consensus of good versus bad, right versus wrong. I just think there's two ideologies or multiple ideologies battling out to be able to define that, if that makes any sense. Yeah. We're all living in different worlds. Like, it's, we're all seeing things differently. We're all living in our own little bubbles.
Well, it's micro-environmental.
Micro-environments. That's a great word. I like that. Micro-environment.
Yeah, we're even better. It's like microcosms of micro societies,
right?
It's your microcosm of your own, circle of people, and honestly, you get into an echo chamber too. You do,
but honestly, before the 20th century, before we had mass media, I feel like most societies ran that way in their little micro societies, because before you had a radio or before you had a television with one, narrative coming through on what's going on, we all lived in our own little towns, and we got information passed through the mail and whatever, but like societies, there's this thing called the monkey sphere. I don't know if you ever heard the monkey sphere, but it's this idea that only the human mind is only able to care like individually about up to like 100 people.
Yeah.
And then it stops and then you can't fathom beyond that. After that, people become, I can't remember. I should find this piece and read it next week, but we live in very small communities, and we live and that's how humanity was forever, our little micro environments forever, until mass media of the 20th century. And so I don't know. I guess what I'm trying to say is we're not doing anything weird or wrong that humans haven't always done. But the difference now is that our communities don't have to be geographical. They can be online. So we can live in our own little different worlds with the combination of geography and the digital age. So I don't know. Yeah, we are supposedly deep into the crisis era, and we can't even agree on what the crisis is. That's a great line. That's a great line. I love that. Thank you, Flint Ironstein 23.
I would say it's a crisis in confidence.
It's a crisis in confidence of our institutions, of our.
I'm not saying a crisis of confidence in one person or one particular thing. I think it's a crisis of confidence in all of the framework that we have built in this entire society, more so in this country. But I definitely, hey, G Freely. All right.
Thank you, G Freely. Appreciate that very much. But yeah, it is. But honestly, the Wilsonian FDR world that was built for our country, we're at the end of that seculum, and all of that stuff, like all of the institutions that we're seeing crumbling and the crisis of faith in, those were all built in teens, 20s, 30s, 40s. And now it's coming, it's time for the next seculum. And it's going to change, just like it did at the Civil War in the 1860s, just like it did at the Revolutionary War, just like it did in World War II. The world changed with the Wilsonian FDR era, and that's what we've lived in. We have lived in that domestic policy, in that foreign policy for 80, almost 100 years now. So it tracks with the book. They're not right on a lot of the little details because they couldn't have predicted this absolute crisis in culture. But yeah, I mean, it makes sense. It makes sense.
Edward wanted to know if we're going to do a book club for 13th generation. I thought we were just going to skip to Fourth Turning.
We're going to do Fourth Turning next, and then we're going to do 13th gen after that one. So 13th gen will be our fall book.
Look forward to it. Coming fall 2026.
Yes, coming fall 2026.
Coming soon to a theater.
Guys, I'm going to pay. Let's do this very last paragraph here, this last couple of pages, and then we'll wrap up. Next week is going to be a fun week. Next week is when they predict the future from 1991, and we'll get to see how correct they were, and it'll be the perfect setup for the Fourth Turning. It's pretty exciting. Yay! So the outer driven era should technically start in the early 2030s, begins with reactive endowment activity in great popular demand. So that means that reactives, that's us, a lot of activity, emphasizing survival and stability and consolidating new institutions while preserving families and tradition from encroachment. That'll be interesting. The more ambitious and collectivist endowments of the civic builders gradually gain popularity. Coming of age adaptives build expertise. Tired of moral crusades, society turns its back on idealist endowments until near the end of the era. Within any era, the most striking pattern is not so much the emergence of a new endowment activity, which is gradual, but the decline of an old activity, which is rapid. Since younger generations have grown accustomed to relying on an older generation to champion its own preferred endowment activity, they are unprepared to fill the gap when that older generation passes on. Like a table with one leg jerked away, therefore, society suffers a tilt or disequilibrium from the sudden absence of this endowment activity. The implications are clear. In each era, the most noticeable endowment neglect or reversal is likely to occur in the endowment activity associated with the generation currently passing beyond elderhood. So this is going to be what we're going to go through when the boomers start to go. So this is what we're getting ready to we're getting ready to hit that. So that's going to be crazy. 30 days to use those memberships. Awesome. Thank you guys so much for that. That's so kind, G. Freely. In a crisis era, for example, due process and fair play fall into disfavor, not only from the force of events, but also because the generation that everyone expects to defend them is disappearing. Think back to the aggressive regimentation of economic and social life during the mid-30s, or to the mass internment of Japanese American citizens a few years later. Where were the adaptives? Where were the progressive trust busters and champions of due process? They were by then too old to be heard. We could ask similar questions of prior crisis eras. Where were the adaptive conciliators during the Civil War or the American Revolution? The compromisers or enlighteners were by this time too old or discredited. And that's talking about like the world that we grew up in is no longer exists. Like we're the last of it. Boomers are going. We can preserve as much as the old world as we can, but they're going to usher in a whole new order.
New world order.
A new world order. The same pattern holds for other types of eras. The culturally sterile end of ideology decade of the 50s and outer driven era could have used a few zealous idealists to stir things up, but the missionaries were disappearing. Let's see. Much the same can be said for the culturally quiescent Jeffersonian era of the early 1800s, then filling the loss of the awakeners of the circa 1880 height of the Gilded Age when the transcendentals were fading. The do-it-now euphoria that gripped America from the late 1960s through most of the 1970s and awakening era needed something very different, a splash of ice water realism. Skeptical reactives might have sobered us up and spared us disappointment later on, but it was too late by the time of model cities in Woodstock. All but a few of the lost had passed from the scene. Today, America is moving into an inner-driven era, with adaptives adding layers of institutional process and detached idealists still perfecting new values. Whose endowment activity are we beginning to miss the most? The GIs. Of course, this was written in 91. The only living generation that still knows how to unify the community and get big things done. The overlapping pattern between generations and endowment behavior leads to a final life cycle observation. Each generation develops a lifelong endowment agenda pointing toward the endowment activity that society neglected or reversed during its youth. That's pretty profound. The silent, like every earlier adaptive generation, grew up in a crisis-gripped world that had little time for refinement, sensitivity, or play by the rules fairness. Their lifelong agenda has pointed towards rectifying such mistakes, toward raising again the banner dropped in old age by progressives. It was, for example, a silent-dominated Congress that recently awarded $20,000 damages to every Japanese American interned during World War II. I did not know they did that. I had no idea that they gave 20 grand to all of the Japanese Americans that were interned. I did not realize that. Boomers, like every earlier idealist generation, grew up as children during a cyclical low tide of spiritual curiosity. Their lifelong endowment agenda points towards infusing society with new spiritual energy. Indeed, the boom is the first generation since the missionaries to show signs of preparing for late-in-life moral crusades. Or 13ers. We should ask what they will someday sense was missing from their childhood environment. Most likely, it will be something all generations have missed since the mid-60s, the active presence of the pragmatic lost. As for the newly arriving millennials, perhaps they will grow up yearning for something Americans are about to miss, the active presence of the team playing GIs. As is the generation of leaves, wrote Homer, so it is with the generations of men, which alternately come forth and pass away. Endowment behavior reflects a stabilizing dynamic intrinsic to the generational cycle, which ensures that no one dimension of progress is pushed too long or lies dormant too long. Like Homer's leaves, each kind of endowment activity has its own season. This makes the cycle of generations a powerful force for rejuvenation, a balance wheel for human progress, and if all generations play their roles well, a guarantor of the American dream. The past is prologue. Let's turn to the future.
Guaranteeing the American dream. That's what this is all
about. Yep. And that's what now is the time to either preserve it and guarantee it for the next, or I don't know. I don't, or we change into a feudal society, a caste system.
I think some people would say we already have.
Oh, there is still room for class mobility. The American dream is still there.
Yeah. Yeah, but now instead of actually becoming, now people just become famous for being famous. And
I know. I think they said like half of the Gen Z or Gen Alpha, I don't remember which one it is. The career goal is to be an influencer or online creator.
Yeah.
Which, how can they even have goals to do something when AI is going to wipe out all of our jobs in the next 5 years anyways? How do you even know what you want to be? What's even going to be there?
I just want to be on the beach sipping a Mai Tai earning 20%.
Yeah. And I want to be out in the woods in the middle of nowhere doing the same thing. That's right.
Beach, woods, I don't really care either one. Actually, there's a really cool place out here called like Big Sur where you can get the beach and the mountains in 5 minutes. It's really great.
Yeah. Well, I hope that some laws change in California that allow people to build houses and property values to for a house to be affordable in your state. Maybe the exodus of people will force some law changing. Maybe get some more affordable housing in your state. Gen X. So glad I was born in the last productive generation. Yay!
I saw my millennial cousin the other day, and he's actually doing pretty damn good for being a millennial.
Well, good.
He's got a good job. He's he's not married yet. He's in his 30s, but
I have some millennial cousins that are doing well, that are married with kids and doing well.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I'd say most of the millennial cousins are actually
doing okay.
Yeah, and I guess I have millennial nieces and nephews too. Come to think of it.
Yeah. Oh.
Those.
well, guys, I really appreciate this. This Generations has been fun. We're gonna wrap it up next week and start going into the future, and then we get into the fourth turning where I think it's gonna spark some more lively discussions. And I hope that's okay.
We just need to not talk about Trump.
I think that's, and honestly, I think that's
probably
a good rule. To not get into the details of that. He is who he is. We know who he is. We know, where he stands in this kind of stuff. So, but yeah, I think that's probably a good rule moving forward, is to kind of just let that off the table, because honestly, in a couple of years,
it ain't gonna matter.
It's not gonna matter. So like I want to kind of look at the cultural, at the generations and what's about to happen in the turnings and everything like that. It was a good discussion. Yeah. Well, I'm glad you guys liked it. And Grindleston, thank you so much for I hope that I hope that we're okay. Yeah, okay, all right. Because
I don't let this stuff. It happens.
Okay, yeah, and I like to play devil's advocate a lot of times, because my views and beliefs and things don't really line up with either party. So that's why I consider myself an independent, and so I feel like I try to look at things as and get information from as much sources as I can. But yeah, so
I get, the more libertarian I get, for sure.
Yeah,
I'm definitely a liberal. I mean, dyed in the wool liberal. I can't cotton to just lie.
And I would say I'm a conservative. I'm pretty conservative. Yeah.
I mean, fiscally, I'm very conservative, but socially, I'm very liberal. So, it's. I don't agree with everything the Democrats do. I never have.
Right.
I don't agree with everything the Republicans do. I never have.
Right.
I agree with more of the Democrats than the Republicans, but believe me, if there was a viable third party, I would most likely be a member of a viable third party, because I don't agree that either side is got the best interests of the majority of the people.
Well, I agree with that, and I think the parties themselves have become corporations and have there's just we've gotten away from really talking about principles and morals and founding of what, and it's gotten into this weird conversation about I don't know, but I don't know.
I like what Tim Horn says about the Romans. They're going through the crisis of the 3rd century. It's funny. One of my favorite authors, Philip K. Dick, actually believed that he was, in the Roman times.
Really?
That his entire existence was just a blip in some Roman centurion's head. And this is true. And he wrote books about it. So, yeah, I think that's an interesting little weird thing to put together there. But, it's... we're definitely going through some shit.
We are going through some shit, and I just pray that we can get through it on the other side and get to the first turning. I hope that this doesn't go off the rails in a way that nobody can, I don't know, but
it'd be pretty. It's pretty interesting that the Republicans are the fucking party of Lincoln. Go figure.
Yep, I was just in Springfield, Illinois, a couple of days ago. I bought a new car. I don't know if I would get a
saw it.
Yeah, thank you.
What is it again? It's a
Toyota FJ Cruiser. Ooh. It's an old 2007 FJ Cruiser. Yeah.
Oh, you got a new one. Nice.
Yeah.
How many miles?
160,000. Wow. So it's just getting started. Toyotas can go 300,000-400,000. But yeah, so I'm excited about it. I'm gonna do some road trips next year and do videos on the road and do some American history stuff.
Awesome.
So awesome. I'm going to do Route 66, so I'll be out in LA at some point.
Out, man.
Yep.
See Cal, I'll show you all the fun shit.
I've been out there. I haven't been to California. I've been to California since about 2010. That was the last time I was in LA. So yeah, I'll have to go out there and I'll let you know when I'm on my road trip. Reading assignment next week is the last chapter, chapter 13. What's it? Let me get the title specifically here. Completing the Millennial Cycle, chapter 13. We're gonna wrap up the book next week. And then we get into the fourth turning. Yeah, I'm excited to do Route 66. Actually, the old Route 66 goes right by my house. It's right here. So I don't know if I'm gonna, but it starts in Chicago, so I don't know if I'm gonna backtrack up to Chicago and start from the beginning, or if I'm just gonna start from where I'm at and just go west. But I'll figure that out someday. But yeah, I've always wanted to do Route 66. What did you say?
I've been to the end of it.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah.
Yeah, it ends. Supposedly, it ends at the pier at Santa Monica Pier, which is actually one of my all-time favorite places.
Cool.
I just love going all the way out to the end of the pier where there's nothing else, and you can just stand out there like you're kind of on the Titanic and just look out in the ocean and just realize, yeah, you're like, I am so tiny.
Yeah.
I love that. That's why I love that's why I have to have the ocean near me. It's like I need to be grounded. I need to look at that ocean and go, the problems in my life are a hill of beans compared to how many critters are out there.
Yep, absolutely. I get that same feeling. I get that same feeling in the, out in the woods, out in the, the hills and the, we have such a beautiful, and with lakes.
You can see stars from where you are. I haven't seen stars in ages.
A lot of stars.
I don't remember what the stars even look like anymore.
Good to know. Yeah, I don't know if I want to go all the way to the beginning. I might just start in St. Louis and go from there. That's probably going to be what I end up doing, but we'll see. All right. This has been fun. It was kind of fun. It was kind of fun getting a little heated there. I got to be honest. I kind of enjoyed it. knowing that we came to the other side and can be friends, I would have been sad if we would have not been, able to get through it.
It is what it is.
Yeah. It was good. It was a fun discussion. And I really appreciate it.
Where I go.
Yep.
I'll get new drugs next week.
Ooh, that's right. You should get some new drugs next week. Good for you. Good for you. I'm also going to schedule a time after we finish Generations to watch Century of the Self. I really want to watch that with y'all and really get in, because that's where we get into the mass media and how the 20th century generations really were manipulated in a lot of ways. And so yeah, I'm going to set up a time for Century of the Self.
I had a social studies teacher in 10th grade. He was obsessed with that. We did a whole 2-week thing on subliminal messages and adjadvertising. And how the media manipulates you. And that's, that's why I'm just as jaded and cynical as anybody, because not only, conspiracy theories did turn out to be true, man.
Yep, absolutely. Hey, Colonel Misfit.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna set up Century of the Self time. I don't think I can sit here and watch it on YouTube, but I think but I can do it on Discord. So I'm gonna see if I can do a double cast where you can just watch me watch it on YouTube, but then if you actually want to see it, you can go over. I don't know. I'll figure it out. Technology. Yep, manipulation.
Do I hoop?
Are you a basketball player? You like to play ball?
No, I have like a 10-inch. No, I have like a 5-inch vertical leap. No, I have no knees anymore. I tried to play volleyball in high school, but I can't really jump.
Yeah. And the older I get, the more, maybe jump a couple inches off the ground.
I like to shoot, every now and again, but I can't play that. I love watching my UCLA Bruins, and I was happy to see they won the national championship. Oh, speaking of news, did y'all see that Jessica McClure got arrested? Baby Jessica?
For what?
Domestic violence.
Shut up.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh.
And I was like, oh my God, that hurt.
Wow.
Not aged very well.
No. Yeah, my Route 60 trip. I should get a sponsorship from Rand McNally for my trip. I will be using my Atlas.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I mean, haven't you been? Have anybody asked you to sponsor yet?
I get requests for sponsorships quite a bit, and I haven't accepted any yet. I'm careful with that. I don't want to I'm not a person that wants to hawk products. I don't want to be sitting here asking people to buy things. And I that's just not, I like that I can make my money with people just watching my videos. But there's a couple things I'd like to do, like a couple of t-shirts I'd like to make for merchandise and things like that. And, but yeah, I
3D printer. I just want somebody to 3D print. I'll do whatever they want.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
Sponsored by so and so. Yeah, great.
Right. Yeah. It's so easy to accept sponsorship offers and all that stuff, but I just want to be really, really careful with it. Yeah, I'm going to go on an analog road trip. That's basically what I'm going to be doing.
Analog road trip.
Yeah. Because I have my map. I love my Atlas. I don't use GPS.
Actually, some of my favorite videos now are people tricking out their cars and their campers and their vans and building. I mean, I swear to God, I watch that stuff 24/7.
It's fun. It's fun to watch that kind of stuff.
Super fun, man. I love it. I love that you can make things. I'm just like, I can't make squat. I can write. Listen, my creativity. I could write you a poem. I could make you a short story.
Right. But building things like that is not going to work.
Nope. Sketch, but yeah, no, I'm not good with my hands. So,
I'll probably be down to Florida at some point. Yeah, I'm gonna do some traveling. A lot of this depends on my dad, but but I'm trying to make plans for the next few years for the channel, and it's not always going to be videos about my favorite 80s TV shows. I do have a new video that's going to be those are good ones though. I do have a new video coming out later this week about TV shows that raised Gen X. And it's going to be really, really, I'm excited about it. It's going to be like over an hour long. It's super long. But I'm going through all the TV shows that that were made for us, that taught us stuff. Like, like Mr. Rogers and Sesame Street and all that stuff.
Like 3-2-1 Contact.
Yep, 3-2-1 Contact is my opening. That's the best theme song.
Remember Connections? Do you remember that one?
No.
So it was a PBS show, and it was this one guy from Britain, and he did this whole, I think it was 10 parts about how everything in the world is connected.
I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, definitely check it out. It was something that was huge for us in the 80s, in the 70s, late 70s, early 80s.
Okay.
I remember when I got into the mentally gifted minor program. That was the first thing they made us do. Is they're like, we're going to watch this Connection show.
Okay, so I will put that on the list and see what I can find out.
So definitely check that one out. But oh man, you can't go wrong with Electric Company. Even what was it? Nickelodeon got involved with.
I have so many shows. That's why it's going to be an hour long. More of that. But I've been watching a lot of Electric Company this week because I'm writing the script for this video, and it's been really fun watching it. It's so good. It's so good, and the fact that it has no cultural relevance anymore makes me sad. We need to totally.
I think it's remembered fondly, but the fact that it's been on for a while, and that and also don't remember it's connected to Bill Cosby.
Oh, I know he was in the first season. Yeah, that might be why it's so. But Morgan Freeman and Rita Moreno, I mean, they were incredible.
Sure. He was big in the behind the scenes, I think.
Yeah,
and a lot of people, myself, I can't go back and watch anything Cosby related.
Really? Oh, I can watch the Cosby Show all day long. Yeah, it doesn't bother me. I just love it.
As much as I loved it at the time, and I did like it. I can't go back, especially I can't now that
fair enough. But, Schoolhouse Rock is on in the video.
The world goes. The new Different World comes out. I will watch that.
Yeah. I didn't know they were making a new Different World. To be honest,
making a new Different World. Yeah.
They're making everything now these days. Picture pages. I talked about picture pages in one of my older videos. and that you don't remember this TV show unless you're Gen X. But that was Cosby as well. Picture pages. He would you would get these coloring books. This was in the early to mid 80s. These picture pages coloring books, and he would teach you, and he would have it on his screen and had his magic pencil, and he would help, and you do the picture pages with him. Oh, wow. But yeah, that was after Fat Albert and before the Cosby Show. So it's sad because he had such an influence on our generation and as young kids, and that it's hard to reference any of it anymore. But
dude, I know parts of Bill Cosby himself by heart.
Yeah, totally.
And I mean, not even before that, my parents had Bill Cosby records. I grew up on that stuff. So
yeah, he was on I Spy and stuff in the 60s. Like, yeah.
Oh yeah, that's why I can't. Just can't. What he did was just heinous to me.
Yeah.
So I can't.
The sad thing is that there's so many heinous people in Hollywood.
There is.
It's like the way
I
feel. The way I felt about it, I was like, I'm just gonna just ignore that kind of stuff, because if I don't, it's gonna ruin like 70% of the stuff that I love. So, anyways, Grendelson, it's been fun. Appreciate it. I will see you next Tuesday, and we'll have fun. Wrap up this book. Yes. Good luck on your surgery. If for any reason, you can't make it next Tuesday, I totally get it. But good luck on that and get through that.
Peace.
Have a good night, everybody. Thank you. See you over on the Discord. Bye.